What's going on, guys? Nathan with Technology Smash, back with another video, and today I have a review of the Samsung Gear S2. So I've been wearing the watch for a few days. Wanted to give you guys my impressions on actual use for day to day, what I liked, what I didn't like. So this shouldn't be super long. I know my videos usually are, but I kind of went through a lot of the setup and things on how the watch works when I did my last unboxing, which you guys seem to really like. So I appreciate all the new subscribers and everybody who gave that video a thumbs up. I appreciate it. I really do. So let's get into this. So I started with the watch off because I want to show how quick the boot up is. So we'll go ahead and do that. So to boot up, we just hold the bottom right button here. So hold. You get a little taptic feedback or haptic feedback, whichever, that vibrates against your hand. So you got Samsung Gear S2, and you can see just how fast this boots up, which is pretty quick. I want to make sure I am connected on my Nexus 6. Once it pops up. Okay, so we're already booted up, so you saw how fast that was. So that's great. There's one of the positives. I don't have many negatives, so there's actually only a couple. So get used to that because I love this watch. It's great, and we're gonna go over the reasons why I like it. So let's see if we are connected. Usually auto connects through the app. Okay, so we're connected. Okay, so one of the best things is this. The accelerometer in this watch is amazing. You can see we are off, on, off, on, off, on, without fail, every time, 99.99999%. The times it didn't go off is because I just didn't move my wrist in the right direction or the right way. It's perfect every time. That's great. The only other watch I used and tried that was close to that was the Apple Watch. Another thing, so I kind of wrote down a few things, so let's kind of just go on that way. So number one, the bezel. The rotating bezel is a game changer, absolutely a game changer. It is so useful. It's so amazing to have things where you don't have to touch the screen. The best example I was showing people of this is for the CNN app. So let's go into there real quick. Now, are you going to read the news on your watch every day? Probably not. But this gives you a good idea just in general when you're scrolling through text, what you can do instead. So normally you do this, right? Read a little bit, scroll, read a little bit, scroll, read a little bit, scroll. So with the bezel, I'm reading and I'm scrolling, and I can keep reading and I can keep scrolling without getting in the way. I'm not getting the screen dirty. I'm not interrupting the flow of what I'm trying to do. This bezel is amazing. I love the idea. This idea is going to be stolen by other smartwatch makers. I guarantee it. It's great. Totally changes the watch. You would think, I probably won't use that much. Yes, you will. You'll use that all the time. So, that is one of the things I love. The next thing, battery life. Insane compared to my other watches. Great battery life. So right now I'm at 100 because I charged it up for the video. But yesterday at work, I took it off the charger the night before because it was done charging. I shut it off. After I shut it off, I went to bed. I woke up, turned it on, used it all day throughout work. When I came home and it was time for my normal like Moto 360 or whatever, where I would just throw it on the charger, I was at around 68 or 70%. I lost 30% through my whole work day, so including driving to and from work. That's 10 hours or so for 30%. I was blown away. It blew my mind. I looked at it and I thought, okay, because I'm not used to that. The Moto 360 and other watches just don't do that. So battery life, awesome on this watch. And that's with me messing it a lot too. So great. Let's see, next thing, communication, so texting. So on this watch, let me just go into, and it goes into like a T9 type of text. And this is really cool because I can actually type with this thing and it works very accurately. So we'll say, let's just say, hey, how's it going? Oh, and by the way, rotating the bezel changes to different characters and things. So I'm going to say, hey, how's it going? So, hey, how's it going? And I typed it perfectly, if you can't see. Hey guys, it's going. That's my fault. I'm behind the camera. I swear. This does work very, very well. So, that's another great thing because you can send emojis, you can send text messages, you can send whatever you want through there, and instead of the candid responses, which you can also send and you can customize to your own things that you say quite a bit, it's great to communicate back. It's very fast, it's accurate. You can't respond in like Hangouts, I notice. You can only dismiss the notification. But you can do it in texting for your default text app. So, great feature as well. I'm just going to change these throughout because I like the different watch faces I've set up. So, okay, the next thing, the screen. The screen on this watch is better than any smartwatch I've used by far. The pixel density is the highest of any watch I've used, and you can just see the screen animations for that, for the sweeping seconds. It's so fluid. I'm trying to think of what watch face might show the best on camera, and I really don't know which one would. So, you know, they just look great on the watch. It's very pixel dense. I'm going to turn up the brightness, see if it kind of washes out. It just looks beautiful. You can take my word for it, or if you try it out, you'll notice right away. There's not much more to say about the screen. It's great. Best one I've used so far, and I've used a lot. Okay, so this next one is a double-edged sword, because this is also why I don't like it. Size. This is a smaller watch, so I have the Fitbit back on. It doesn't look small next to the Fitbit, but overall this is a lot smaller watch than I'm used to, or that anyone's used to. So if you like smaller watches, this will be perfect. If you don't, you're going to have an issue with it. If you like the size of the regular Moto 360 and you think that's perfect, this is small compared to that. If you think the Moto 360 is too big, this watch will be great. I, as somebody who has been struggling to decide if I want to keep this watch or not, that's my biggest struggle, is the size. And the great thing about that is it makes it very comfortable. It makes it very manageable. It's not heavy, but it's small. And I have bigger hands. I need a bigger watch. I'm really struggling with if I'm going to keep this or not, just based on that alone. Honestly, the other cons I can look past because they're something I don't really care about. So that's a pro or a con depending on who you are. Next thing, wireless charging. So this is the wireless charging cradle that comes with it. So if you had a Moto 360, you know. If you don't, then you don't. So on the back, there's just the normal back to it. So this is plugged in via micro USB. This just sits, it's got a rubber foot on it so it doesn't move too much. So when you want to charge it, it's plugged in, you just sit it down like that and it's charging. That's it. You pick it up when you're done and put it down when you want to charge again. The watch face will actually switch to a sideways view, so it's up and down, like almost like a night clock if you have it next to your desk or next to your nightstand, and it'll just look like this, but the other direction. You can swipe down to see these things. So that's great. Wireless charging all the way. Nexus 6 wireless charging. Love wireless charging. Next, Pro, Wi-Fi and NFC built straight in. So I'm going to turn the brightness back down actually for the video. So Wi-Fi and NFC built right in, which is awesome. Bluetooth on, Wi-Fi on, NFC on. So Bluetooth will connect directly through your Bluetooth device. So like what my phone is connected to. If not, it connects independently to your Wi-Fi connection. That's great. So you don't have to necessarily have your phone connected to it. It can be connected independently. Awesome that it's included in there. It connects super quickly. It remembers the connection. All those great things. So all those connections are within the watch, and that's a good thing. They're not something you have to do without. It's up to date with what smartwatches should be, which is the issue you run into with other watches, especially Android Wear watches. Okay, activity reminder for my next one. So I drive about an hour to work every day. Every day when I've gotten to work, and this isn't indicative of my normal step count, I was very busy today, so I was sitting down a lot. So what it does is, kind of like you've seen on the Apple Watch, if you can have settings set up to where it will tell you, and my watch vibrates almost every day that I get to work. It says, you've been inactive for almost an hour, it's time to get moving. As soon as you start moving, it tells you, good job, stay active. So I like that a lot. It's nice because sometimes you don't remember that you haven't really moved that much, especially if you have a desk job like I do. This little part of the health tracker will say what you're doing throughout the day, light activity, how many steps, you can start exercise, your heart rate through there, you can track your glasses of water, glasses of caffeine, and then settings for all your health settings. It's actually very good. It works well, and because this is a sports style watch and it's waterproof rated, you can use it for stuff like going to the gym or just being more active, and it's going to remind you of things like that. So, benefit in my book. Heart rate monitor for the next step on that. Very accurate compared to other things I've tested. Very quick to do it. I'm going to see if it'll do it with just my fingertip here, but I'm going to put it over the sensor, and we're going to see if my heart rate goes off. It looks cool, the animation's great, it works quickly. I would, with my Moto 360 all the time, have it to where it'd say I couldn't read it, this and that, whatever. I don't have that issue with this, so it read it. It uses that as the heart rate sensor, just like every other. And then you can tell it what you were doing at that time. So it's trying to read again right now, and now it's telling me it wasn't on my wrist. But grade A heart rate monitor for what it is. I haven't extensively tested it, working out vigorously and seeing if it still keeps track, but otherwise great. Okay, those are my benefits. This is a great watch. Those are my benefits to it. Now here's a couple of cons. So, like I said, the size. It's too small for my taste, and I don't want to say the word too small because I'm still considering holding on to it. I'm struggling with this more than anyone should. First world problems, right? So this watch is just this close to being perfect for me. I just wish they would have made a bigger size. They didn't. It's a small screen. When I first saw the Huawei, or however you say it, watch that a friend from work ordered, 1.4 inches, I said, wow, that's a tiny watch. This is 1.2 inches. It's even smaller. So take that for what it's worth. You may like that, you may hate that. 2, the materials. So this isn't a con necessarily. This is a great build quality. Just the way that it's designed. So like here, you can't set this down on your own wireless charger. You can't do it. You would have to take the bands off, which I don't still know how to do this. I didn't read through the manual. There's some kind of release with these buttons, and then they slide away or slide off. But you cannot put this on your own wireless charger because it sticks up, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I don't like that. That annoys me because I have a wireless charger at work. Again, amazing battery life, so it's not a big deal, but it's there. The next thing, apps. There are no apps for this yet, and this is something that time will tell if more will be running on Tizen. It comes with CNN and Bloomberg installed. Otherwise, there is not a lot of apps for this in the App Store. That's all I'm really going to say about it. Nike Plus Running is also on there as well. Not a lot of apps at all. There are some things that are useful, but all in all, if you're looking for something very app-based, Android Wear, Apple Watch are going to be your better bet for now. I'm sure things will get added as time goes by because I hope this gets supported because of how much I like it and how much quality work they put into the software. The software is just grade A. It works really well. The first versions of Tizen that they showed, and that I used on the other Galaxy Gears and Gear Neo and all that stuff, I didn't like that much. It was okay. This is just very polished and looks beautiful, so take that for what it's worth. Last thing, S-Voice sucks. Always has. S-Voice, I just don't like it. It's not something that works. It just doesn't on Samsung phones. Like Google Now is the way to go. I wish it was integrated somehow. Let's see. This is a test of the S-Voice. It's probably going to prove me wrong right now. Okay, so it did it perfectly, which is fine. Most of the time it doesn't get a great reading on what you're saying. So, whatever. But, okay, so in conclusion, this watch is awesome. I love it. This is probably my favorite watch I've used so far because I loved the Apple Watch's build quality. Too expensive. The apps took forever to load off the watch. Other than that, I liked it. Android Wear works really, really generic. It's very basic. You swipe the cards up, swipe them away, get rid of them. Screens, there's so many different manufacturers. The build qualities aren't up to par for some of them. Some of them are amazing, but they're really expensive now. The problem I have is, let's say you have a Moto 360 that you bought for $250 like I had at one point, and then the Huawei or whatever, however you pronounce it, watch comes out and it's $500 or $400. It's got the same software experience on the inside, which drives me crazy. If I'm going to pay that much, you want new and different features. Android Wear stays the same pretty much throughout. This is fresh. This is innovative. This rotating bezel is a game changer, like I said. And I highly recommend that if you are on the fence about this watch and you're okay with the smaller size, then you should definitely go for it. It is, without a doubt, my favorite one I've used. It is the one I'm having the most difficult time deciding if I want to keep it or not. Everything about it, besides those couple of things I mentioned, is spot on, and I can't wait to see the newer version, not the newer version, the more premium version that has the leather bands and the metal that sticks up higher so you can just interchange normal bands. These ones are proprietary, obviously, because of the connectors. But yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to post them down below, and feel free to give me some thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, but I will get back to you guys as quick as I can. And again, I appreciate everybody who started subscribing and following from the last video, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.